I, O, U.
My student said, "Thank you very much for the video. I really understand the great Giorgini. I will listen and then imitate him." I think one of my biggest problems is that my larynx doesn't drop enough to hide behind the clavicle. It happens up to the passaggio zone, but especially in high notes, the larynx slides up. This further proves that I don't store enough air in my abdomen, so I use the muscles in my throat. But I noticed that since studying with you, my larynx naturally starts to lower, and day by day, I see it lower a millimeter more each day. So I'm sure that by training my breath and its management, the larynx will lower naturally to seek support from the breath itself. Thank you for everything you do for me. My response: you have made a lot of progress compared to more than a month ago. The current issue is that for ordinary people, the correct vocal technique is extremely difficult. I can't even hear a correct sound from most online vocal teachers. Although you have made progress with each practice session and can feel more abdominal breath than before, simply feeling it is not enough. Now you, like almost all the current tenors, share the same problem. You can't use your abdomen to control your breath when singing. You can produce resonance and vibrato, but just like the current tenors, your technique is incorrect. From a physiological standpoint, let me explain why your breath doesn't go low. Your pitch is high, but don't be discouraged because you have already done what current tenors are doing, which they will never learn in their lifetime: abdominal breath support for singing. This incorrect method of singing, like the three tenors and Corelli's way of using throat tension to project breath forward, results in resonance being focused around the mask, not like Caruso said, where resonance comes from the whole body. I made a diagram, and when you see it, you'll understand. It explains everything. For ordinary people who haven't trained their pharynx, the left side shows a small pharynx where the breath can't circulate. The right side shows what I believe is a real tenor, whose pharynx is wide open and can expand greatly. This space is the lifeline of all vocal technique, the most important thing. You can imagine how someone with a small pharynx, like an ordinary person, simply cannot sing. You've given me a few recordings of Monaco, and while I can hear improvement, it's limited because your pharynx hasn't been artificially trained. You can't achieve Caruso's sound. So my diagram tells you that you must train your breath to expand your pharynx to the maximum. I practice pharynx training for 5 hours at a time, and once this problem is solved, everything will fall into place. Carefully observe Caruso's facial and mouth movements. This is how he uses his breath, training the internal breath column passage. He keeps his vocal cords widely open and ensures the throat is spacious and unobstructed. Only when these two things are properly done can we talk about abdominal breath training. Domingo can never fully open his vocal cords, so his sound is weak and his tone quality is poor. None of his vocal techniques are effective. Like you, he opens his mouth and all the sound rushes into his nasal cavity. He barely uses nasal resonance and vibrato to prove he is a professional singer, but in reality, he can only deceive amateurs. I can tell right away, relying on mask or nasal resonance, he definitely cannot use abdominal breath power. Moreover, his key is just the typical human throat. Domingo admires Mario Lanza, whose throat opening is outstanding, giving him unparalleled sound quality. Pavarotti also shares this bad habit, pushing breath toward the mask from his throat, so the sound, without effective resonance within the body, already occupies the mask, resulting in a very thin sound. So starting today, don't train with those few vowels of Monaco because your pronunciation hasn't yet broken free from poor habits. Instead, learn from Aristodemo Giorgini.